October is National Substance Use Prevention Month. And in this episode, I'm talking with two 13-year-olds about prevention. Their poise and knowledge will amaze you. But listen to the programs they're bringing to their peers. The sophistication that young people can handle and can make work with their peers should not be underestimated. You will hear a detailed discussion about high-risk alcohol products, media literacy, and serious advocacy work. There are also messages for parents throughout that we know you'll find useful. Enjoy. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talk They Hear You's podcast, What Parents Are Saying, Prevention, Wisdom, Authenticity, and Empowerment. Today, we are talking with young people. Specifically, we are communicating with a group called Youth2Youth from Dover, New Hampshire. And I have with me Annabelle and Megan and their adult advisor, Connor, who oversees the program. And I wanted to just start and have you tell us a little bit about this program, each of you from your perspective, introduce yourselves and tell us how you got into this work. Annabelle, do you want to start?
Sure. Hi, I'm Annabelle. I'm almost 14, and I got into this program because my grandfather founded it. I continue to do it even though my brother doesn't, but I do because I just think it's so important to be getting these messages out, and I love that Dover Youth2Youth provides a platform for me to share how I feel about the different products that are being put out there and other topics that we discuss.
Fantastic. What a connection that you have to it. That's great. Megan, how did you get involved?
So in 5th grade, I was taking DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education, and Dana Mitchell, Annabelle's grandfather and the founder, was my DARE officer. And so since he was, kids on our team were given the chance to participate in youth-to-youth activities without actually being a part of the program. So I was able to do some projects like our zombie project promoting Drug Take Back Day. I was able to work on Samantha Skunk, which is a medicine safety skit. So I kind of got that little taste of the program before I had to make up my mind. And so that summer I was able to do our summer program where we let anybody who wants to sign up and do some activities. That's when we launch our campaigns. And I just really enjoyed it. So I decided to become a member. And the reason I've been doing it for 3 years now is because that I was really shy when I was younger, and this really helped me come out of my shell. But also, I think the issues we talk about are really important. Substance use has been a part of my life. My grandmother was a smoker and she was able to quit, and she had quit for 13 years, but then she developed lung cancer either way and passed away. And so I just thought it was important, both from my background and seeing my peers struggling with these issues. And I really want to be a part of that message.
That's really powerful. I'm very impressed. Connor, tell us how you got involved in this and what keeps you here.
Sure. So I was a member of Dover Youth2Youth when I was a kid. I joined in 6th grade, just like Megan. I attended the summer program the year before I was in 6th grade and really got the full, test experience of what it would be like to be in Youth2Youth. I was really excited about it and joined, and then stayed involved all the way through my senior year of high school. When I graduated from high school, I was given the opportunity to volunteer and come back for specific projects as I was able to while still attending college. But I would, on breaks, come back and staff a presentation or help out at a meeting or whatever I could do to stay involved. After college, I did a few odd jobs, but then they reached out and asked if I would like to join the staff, the full-time staff, advising the program. And I've been here in a staff capacity, I've been here for a little over 2.5 years.
Wow, that's fantastic. The fact that you all were exposed to this essentially in elementary school or early middle school is kind of remarkable. Do you find girls that your peers in middle school are excited about this message too? Do you feel like you're influencing them? What are kind of things that they share with you?
Well, I know since Annabelle doesn't even live in New Hampshire, so the messages aren't really reaching her school directly. But at least at the middle school level, youth isn't a very well known thing at all anymore.
Okay.
It used to be, but after COVID, it kind of went away because
Interesting.
we couldn't do our presentations as much.
Yep.
So if you talk to someone about Dover Youth2Youth at my school, they probably wouldn't exactly recognize what you were talking about, but maybe kind of be familiar with it a little bit, as in they've heard the name before. But there are problems at my school with substance use, which is why we try and get so involved, is because, yes, there are people that do hear the message. And I also think that it's good that we cover it because our health classes aren't the best at going over it in the way that they should, especially because of the fact that it's just run by the gym teachers. Like,
Okay.
they're not exactly the ones that are going to be talking to youth in the same way that other kids their age would be. But I think there are people who are also resistant to the message. And I don't think that has anything to do with our program in particular. I just think that there are some people who are resistant to the message because they could be struggling with an addiction, maybe, or they just don't like being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But we start very young at an elementary level here. And so even in just kindergarten, we're already talking about medicine safety. So I hope that whether or not they're listening to these presentations as much as they get older, they still remember the things that we taught them maybe in elementary school, whether or not they're conscious of it. So they
Right.
still have that little reminder in the back of their minds.
That's great. I think that cumulative knowledge is real. What were you going to say, Annabelle?
We don't have anything remotely like Dover Youth2Youth where I live. I live in Massachusetts. I don't think that there's a lot of issues, at least in my middle school, with substance misuse, but I do still think we would benefit from having a program like this because I don't know what it's like at the high school, but I'm sure it's not as good as the middle school. I think if you learn these messages early, it's really beneficial.
I love that. And I think it's amazing that you are in a different state, actually, and are still connected to the program. I'm guessing you guys do a lot of things online so that you can be a part of the activities?
Yeah, we do webinars that I like to participate in as much as possible. I also do a week-long summer program every year, and I'm also able to go on our little trips to conferences, which is really fun.
That's exciting. So it sounds like there actually is a lot of opportunity maybe for high school, and it'll be interesting to see what you all do in the next 4 years, or I guess you got to get through eighth grade first, but then the next 4 years. But let me just ask you a little bit about some of the programming that you've actually even mentioned. I've heard that you guys have something called an emerging high risk alcohol products program. Tell me a little bit about what that even means. I'm not even sure what emerging high risk alcohol products are. So let's just start there.
So when we're talking about these high risk products, we're thinking of alcoholic products that are going to be very attractive to youth and maybe make them want to drink more, make it easier for them to start drinking. So we really look at them in 7 categories about what could be attractive to youth. And when we think about it, we think of the design, the marketing, the production, just what about the product could be very friendly to kids.
Yeah, like she said, our 7 categories that could include like co-branding with kid-friendly brands or caffeinated drinks. Teens love caffeine, or even just youthful packaging.
And I'm guessing that some parents that might be listening to us right now have no idea that these are out there. Do you find that to be the case, or do you think that's the case? And is there any feedback that you would give to parents about this product category?
Yeah, I would say that most people have no idea about any of these high-risk products unless they've been told somehow. I think we've done polls or something like that, and it's most people don't.
Yeah. And I think especially with adults too, they've kind of been desensitized to it over the years because in a way that they're just used to the advertising now and they're not going to be absorbing media the same way a kid is. And we talk a lot about media literacy in our program too, and about analyzing media and breaking it down and how it looks to certain target audiences. I think when adults see stuff, they don't really look at it through the eyes of a kid. For example, like a slushy drink to them, they might just think, oh, cool, it's a slushy drink. But to a kid, they would see that and be like, that's for me. Slushies are sugary. They're the treats I have in the summer, whether or not it has alcohol in it, like the one that we showed in our webinar yesterday.
And just to be clear, if there are parents listening to us, there are products on the market that are called slushies that have alcohol in them. And it's quite remarkable. There were some other brands that I think that you mentioned. Can you recall some of those for our audience today? Go ahead.
So, for example, I found the red and blue slushy drink while I was in the store with my grandfather. I did not think it was alcoholic at all because on the whole front of the box, it didn't even say the word alcohol. And on the cans, it's in very, very small font. It says 5% alcohol.
Oh.
Another that I think is extremely similar is the Arizona iced tea, specifically the green tea, I think. They look so similar to the spiked version.
Wow. What about you, Megan?
If we're talking about packaging wise, then there is a drink that was created called Finding Nipa, the New England IPA. And it was a play off of the animated movie Finding Nemo. And this one's just one of our craziest examples because it has little fish that look just like Nemo and Dory right on the front. And then the most insane part about this drink is that on the side it says, how many clownfish can you find? Which I would expect more to see on a kid's menu at a restaurant. It just doesn't really go with the picture of the adult. Fortunately, we were able to talk to the New Hampshire Liquor Commission about this, and it's no longer on the shelves in New Hampshire.
Okay, that is a remarkable statement, and I want to come back to that in just a minute. But sticking with this media literacy idea, did you guys have a list of things that you think young people are looking at when they are seeing ads and seeing products? Can you tell us that list and tell us anything about it?
Yeah, so our 6 things that are on a teen's mind, I might miss a couple, so forgive me.
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, we have technology, friends, sex, appearance, music, and sports.
Yeah.
I think.
You got all of them.
Nice. And the idea is if you're looking at an ad or a package, if a parent or an adult wanted to kind of put those ideas in their head and look at that package, I think you're telling me they're going to see a lot of that being displayed, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways these products are being targeted at young people. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is there anything parents can say to their kids about this whole conundrum?
When we talk to parents, because we do a lot of that between DARE, we have our Packed Parent program. So that's kind of DARE for the parents, where they learn about the same things that their kids are learning about, and we talk to them about advertising like this. One of the things we tell parents is not to really use the stereotypical alcohol is bad, drugs are bad, don't take medicine that's not yours, because they already know that. They're not going to be as receptive to that. Kids like to ask why. They want to know the reason why they shouldn't be doing something. So if you could tell them something like, well, you shouldn't drink alcohol because your brain's not developing. It'll mess with how your brain is thinking and working properly.
Yeah, or don't smoke because it can lead to cancer.
I like it. That's really important because drugs are bad just is not that powerful of a message, is it? You've heard, and you've got this whole marketplace that we're talking about that is telling you otherwise. They're telling you this is a cool Finding Nemo product, and this is Sunny D and hard Arizona tea. And tell me about that word hard. Is that a big indicator that a product might have alcohol in it?
I know that a lot of alcoholic beverages use the word hard, but a lot of young kids don't know that that means that there's alcohol in it. It doesn't mean anything to them. Same with spiked.
Spiked. And so that's something that parents could watch out for, and they could even talk to their kids about it, right? Could point to it and say, what do you think that means? Okay, let's go back to that last comment about you talked to your liquor board in New Hampshire and you got a product taken off the shelves. Is that for real? And is that the type of advocacy work you were talking about?
Yeah, so when we do advocacy, we really do it in 4 main categories, and one of those is legislation. And so we work a lot on the legislative aspect of things. We've passed 3 New Hampshire state laws. We have 2 in the works, and then we've also passed 8 Dover City ordinances. And we've met with the Liquor Commission and state senators about these products in particular, too.
That's amazing. I want all the parents that are listening to us to remember that you are both 14 years old. Is that right?
I'm 13.
You're
Close enough.
13 years old. And they're getting legislation passed in their communities because this is important to them. It's truly remarkable. What's your favorite advocacy effort or outcome that you've participated in? Did I hear about a fun center project, or was there a specific piece of legislation? Any of those?
We both really like to get involved in the education aspect. I know, especially with Annabelle, when she can do all these webinars and we traveled out to different conferences. We really like that education aspect because it's a good way to spread our message and not just be the only ones making change about it. So that one's very rewarding in that by educating the community and others, we then have more people on our side to help us take action because they understand what we're talking about.
That's a really great point. I think there is such a lack of understanding, and certainly among parents and certainly among adults, of what products are and what the implications of products are. The fact that you have to do a lot of education just to even get people to understand that's a very astute reality. And that then you're going ahead and doing the education is remarkable. I am curious about that Fun Center project that you guys did. Can someone tell me a little bit about that?
Are you referring to Hilltop Fun Center when we took the car?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, one of our students was just at Hilltop Fun Center for a regular day, wasn't even with the program, even though we sometimes go there. And they were riding on the go-karts, and they spotted I think it was it Bud Light? A car with a Bud Light on it.
Logos?
Yeah, logos. It would have been bad either way, but it wasn't even in the teen one. It was in the little kids go-kart area. And so they spotted this, and then they went back to everyone else in the program and told everyone about this, and they drafted up a letter to for Hilltop, and they brought it there. The manager was there, so they gave it to him, and the manager understood where they were coming from and took it off that day.
That's remarkable work. The realizing that there was a problem, activating to do something about it, and then seeing the problem taken seriously, and then someone, an adult, doing something about it. Was it just the most rewarding thing? That yeah, was it inspiring for what's possible? What did y'all do afterwards? Was there a project that came after that, or was there a celebration or anything after that?
So this particular project was a while ago, so I think it was before either of us were in the program.
Okay.
Because program's been around for a long time. So some of the specific projects we talked about, we personally haven't worked on, but of course we love to share either way.
Doesn't make it any less powerful, does it? It's pretty impressive. Okay, so any other advocacy work that either of you have done that you've really either liked or learned something from, or again, thought the outcome was powerful?
Yeah, I just love working on the rallies during the summer program because it's really interesting to see how much those fifth graders can learn in just 1 week, and then be able to go on a palm card team basically by themselves and be able to talk to pedestrians walking by and know the message. I think the Boston Globe has come and published an article, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
It's really great.
This past year, Annabelle and I were the two team leaders for the press team too. So we really got to see up close how these fifth graders who were just going into sixth grade, we worked with them all week. And by Wednesday, so after just the 2 days of working with them, they were able to present a press conference both to reporters from newspapers, and then we also had our local news station there. So it's just, it's really rewarding to get to see how much you can accomplish even just in a few days with some prior planning.
That's amazing. I'm truly blown away by that. I am curious what a palm card team is. What is that?
They are in teams of 3, and they have a palm card, which has information about what our rally is. So each palm card team has a stack of those, and they're giving them out to pedestrians while they're talking about what we're here for. One of them contacts, says, "Hi, would you like to see what we're talking about?" The second person's going to tell them all about our rally and our message. And then the third person pretty much wraps up anything that they forgot, and the first person ends it again. And so we teach them throughout the week how to do that.
It's amazing. That's really kind of a life skill, isn't it? That they can apply to all kinds of things. So it sounds like you guys had different adults that talked to you about prevention throughout your lives so far. Do you remember anything specific that an adult ever said to you about prevention that was resonating or motivating for you to get involved? And then anything that you wish an adult might have said to you or a parent might have said to you?
Okay. So in particular, now I know definitely way more than my parents do about prevention.
Yep.
So knowing that because by the time I was old enough to even really be thinking about this, I had already joined the program. So they never specifically needed to talk to me about it because I was the one talking to them about it.
Yeah.
But definitely I got all those youth to youth presentations. I missed out on a couple because of COVID, but I've seen all of our presentations. So I've gotten all those messages. I still remember in kindergarten seeing the Samantha Skunk presentation. That's something that stuck with me. I couldn't quite remember why they were there until I joined the program and started doing it. And I was like, this is what it was. But I still remembered that message. And yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't think it was that bad that my parents didn't tell me much because I was in the program. And I find myself teaching my brother about all the stuff I learned. But I do think I wish, especially if you don't have a program like this close by that you can put your kids in, I do wish that either the schools did a better job of teaching kids about all the problems that go along with these products, or maybe if parents taught their kids a little bit more.
Those were great responses. And you guys are in some unique situations, given both your age and the connections that you have in your families. But it sounds like kids are never too young to, go to rallies, if nothing else, and go to fundraisers with their parents, if nothing else. But also that parents should be talking to their kids. It sounds like you all would recommend that highly. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Connor, is there anything else you would say based on everything we've talked about so far?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, I think one thing that's really special about Youth to Youth is sort of our role in the city. We are a program that's funded and run out of the Dover Police Department, and we always have been. The program's been going for over 30 years now and was founded by police department employees and remains a part of the police department to this day. They've been incredibly supportive of the work that the youth are doing throughout that entire history, and they really are a resource for the students and for the program in general within the city. Like they mentioned, we have a presentation that we do to parents called PACT that gets into some of those questions. And one of the things that we really want parents to know is that not every discussion about substance misuse, alcohol, has to be a big sit down. They can be small conversations, especially in the moments where the students are exposed to that kind of media. For example, if you're watching a football game, you're pretty much guaranteed to see an ad for beer every break, every commercial break. And what if those parents were able to take that opportunity and say, hey, do you really think they're telling the truth about alcohol in that advertisement? And that could be a way in to have a conversation with their kid about alcohol. I think it's also important for parents to have some really specific information about alcohol in their back pocket to be able to talk about, like they said, the effects that alcohol can have on the teenage brain, the kind of consequences that teens could experience, not just health consequences, but social consequences too. Things like your grades are going to slip if you use this. You may get kicked off your sports team. Coaches simply don't tolerate that kind of thing. So using things that are far more important to the youth in the present, as opposed to saying, well, hey, you may develop liver cancer in the future, which of course nobody wants that. But we were all kids and we remember they don't think that far ahead. So I think those are some of the big things that parents could do to be more effective in discussing alcohol and other substances with their kids.
That's fantastic. And we will put links to your organization and materials in our description. As we wrap up, Annabelle and Megan, you have done so much in your young lives. Is there anything else you would leave us with, or anything else that you hope to accomplish in the next 5 years?
We just really want to highlight that what we do isn't easy, but it's not as impossible as people think, and that making the kind of change that we do is achievable.
I think that not only is programs like these so valuable because obviously they teach you about all these messages and they teach you how to teach other people about all these messages, but also they teach you things that you're going to use day to day. Like, for example, we do presentations very frequently, and I have a presentation in like a week and a half that I'm doing in front of my whole class, and I'm not nervous at all because I know that Youth has taught me all these skills that I'm confident in now, and so I'm so happy that I was able to do all this and learn all this stuff, but also be able to use it every day.
Wow. Those are great comments for us. The youth development that you all are experiencing is really remarkable. It is such a pleasure to meet you both. And I hope we get to stay in touch and get to hear about what's to come.
Thank you very much for having us. Really appreciate the work that I'm able to do with these amazing young people. Very, very grateful to be here.
Thank you so much. You guys are fantastic. Have a great rest of your week. And good luck in the upcoming presentations. We want to remind listeners that Talk They Hear You materials, including this podcast, can be found at the Talk They Hear You website. That is talktheyhearyou.samhsa.gov, all spelled out. Talk They Hear You, no spaces, .samhsa, which is SAMHSA.gov. Please share this site and this podcast with your friends. The more we can be in conversation with each other, the better for everyone, especially our kids. Also, we would like to hear from you. Would you like to be on our show? Do you have any stories to share or tips and techniques that have worked or not worked for you in the past as a parent? Do you have any questions for us or feedback on topics or improvements of any kind? We know your input will help us design the most useful interviews possible. Please contact us at WhatParentsAreSaying@gmail.com for any of this. Again, all spelled out, WhatParentsAreSaying@gmail.com. This podcast is brought to you by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Talk They Hear You is a national prevention campaign that aims to help parents and caregivers talk with their kids about the dangers and risks of underage drinking and other drug use. As a reminder, the views expressed here are not necessarily those of SAMHSA or the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.